the 11th meeting of the Board of Directors of Valley Unified Education Service Center. Roll call.
Lise Pelletier, Lisa Bernier,
Here.
John Coletta,
Here.
Tammy Cody,
Here.
Josh Desjardins,
Here.
Toby Gendreau,
Here.
Tom Kent,
Here.
Rose McCory,
Here.
and Gary Sibley.
Here. Any adjustments to the agenda?
There are no adjustments to the agenda.
A period of public participation on any of the agenda. Do we have any people signed up to talk today?
Mr. Anderson, can you see if anyone signed up for public participation on the table? No. Okay. Does anybody wish to speak? Mom, Dad? You all have to be nice to me tonight because my parents are here.
So, approval of minutes.
So moved.
Second it. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Next we have Executive Director.
So the first item I have for you is in reference to the straw poll that will be happening on February 11 and 12. You have this information in your packet, but the public can see it on the screen. This is a draft we're working on. It's almost finished. A lot of it is completed. So it just has a little blurb at the top that talks about this is part of the major capital improvement program. It's step 6 to have a straw poll on site selection. These are your dates. Madawaska will be in this room on Tuesday, February 11 at 6 o'clock p.m. Following that, we will go over to Dr. Levac Elementary to have the SAD 33 straw poll presentation and straw poll vote, and then the following evening we will have the MSAD 27 presentation in the high school gym. I did want to kind of outline how we are looking to do this. We want to be very transparent in the process, and we want to show that there is a purpose for kind of outlining it this way. The guidance that we have from the Department of Education and legal counsel is a straw poll can be whatever or follow the format that we so choose. Some are very informal, some are very formal, and ours is more of a formal process. So registered voters in each member community will receive a ballot from the town clerk upon verifying their residency prior to the start of the meeting. So you will have a town clerk at your straw poll location, and they will be registering you in. Here in Madawaska, it's very simple. It's one municipality. It's one town clerk registering you in, or they may have a couple, different letters of the alphabet. With SAD 33, you're going to have a Frenchville registration and a St. Agatha registration. And in SAD 27, we'll have 5. So Fort Kent, New Canada, St. Francis, St. John, and Wallagrass. So once you are registered, you're going to get your ballot. Then there will be a moderator that will facilitate the meeting. And then Valley Unified and WBRC, the architects, will do a brief presentation. We're trying to target about a 20-minute presentation of information just to review how the site selection unfolded and what the result was. Voters will be asked to then weigh in their support for the recommended site. There will be a public participation period of about 20 minutes for questions and answer. So the public will be encouraged to ask questions about the process so that their answers can be, their questions can be answered, and then there will be the vote. Please note, this is not a vote to approve the entire project. So you're not approving a new regional high school in this straw poll. You're simply approving the selected site. This is only the site selection part of the process. That data will be done, that format will be done by written ballot. So everyone will have a ballot. It'll actually say yes or no on it. You'll tear it and put the yes or the no in your ballot box. You will vote in the ballot box for your municipality. Here in Madawaska, there's only going to be one ballot box for Madawaska voters. In 33, there will be 2. Frenchville voters will vote in theirs, 33 in theirs, and 27 will have 5. Those ballot boxes are going to be collected by the municipalities. So the municipalities will actually take their ballot box with the votes in them back to their offices. They're going to seal the votes. So after the Madawaska vote here, we're not going to read the results. We're going to seal the votes. The town office here is going to seal the votes. Then we're going to go do the presentation in 33. They're going to seal their votes. The St. Agatha folks will take their ballot box. Frenchville folks will take theirs, seal the votes, and then the same thing will happen the following night in SAD 27. The purpose of that is not to reveal results that may influence one community or another. We want the process to be, very transparent, but we also do not want to influence either way. So that's what we have decided to do. The following evening, on February 13, the municipalities will count their votes the same way that they count votes for a school budget referendum, and they will certify those votes, and they will give a certified record of those votes to Valley Unified. I'm asking the board right now to consider holding a real brief meeting to reveal those votes on Thursday, February 13. And I wonder if that would be possible for a quorum of you to do. I'm proposing that we do that at the St. John Valley Tech Center because it is not on our rotation, and the site is the site adjacent to that center, so it just seems fitting that we do it right there at the center. So on February 13, would you be available for a brief meeting to reveal the votes at that time?
6 p.m.
Up to you guys. I'm available 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. But the votes won't be ready, so.
Madawaska like 6:30
Yeah.
in the morning.
6:30 in the morning would be fine. No, they won't be ready at that time. 6 p.m., does that work for the majority? I will send you a reminder and a calendar invite so that you have that on your calendar. 6 p.m. So at that time, at the St. John Valley Tech Center, we will reveal the votes. And we will reveal them by municipality and by district so that we have numbers about all of it, so that we can see that process. Does anyone have any questions? This has been shared with legal counsel. They have gone through it and see that as long as the municipalities are the ones registering the voters, sealing the ballots, counting the ballots, Valley Unified has nothing to do with any of that process. It's more of a clear dissemination of information. Yes, sir.
Is this also to continue the process?
Yes, correct. A positive straw poll, we have been told that in this process, as a positive straw poll will allow the process to continue. We do not know if the results are mixed, what that means. That remains in the realm of the State Board of Education. They can look at those results and make a determination based on what they feel, gauging from the community. It would be best for us to have consensus among the communities. That's the most clear way to show that this project should move forward, and I'm hopeful that that happens. Any other questions? All right. The Valley Unified Education Service Center administrative reps met with the Commissioner of Education on January 16 and 17. It was at the conclusion of a conference that Giselle and I had attended for superintendents, and we were invited at that time because the commissioner was there and wanted to speak to us. The commissioner had received a legal lawsuit, if you will, against the department, and knew that Valley Unified had also received a similar legal action against them, challenging the site selection process primarily and some other things. So the commissioner wanted to share her concerns and offer her support and the department's support in our process. We had some great conversations around that. The department remains very committed to this, hopes that we could be the beacon of future projects that, that will, reshape rural schools in the state. We did, try to share with her or press upon her that we remain committed to trying to get the local people to be behind this, but we realize that there are a lot of issues that remain out there that need to be resolved. One of those conversations we had was the governance of this board right here and the future of that governance. We know that that is some concern in some communities because other board governances follow the one person, one vote rule. And so we had some conversations around that. And we had some conversations around the site selection process itself. The department, Scott Brown was there for the construction team. All along, Scott has advocated that our process follows what is written in law and sees no issue with the process as it unfolded. However, we all know that there are some nuances that, that locally that we have that the department might not quite realize how politically challenging this is. It was a productive meeting. We met for about an hour and a half. Lucy and Peter were there as well. It was nice to hear the commissioner's support, although she did have to be honest and say there were some concerns, and that concerns were being voiced at her office, and she did mention some legislators' offices as well that were some concern. Any questions about that? That being said, we do have a pending legal matter, Valley United Citizens versus Valley Unified Education Service Center. I don't know what's stronger, to be united or unified, but the Uniteds are challenging the Unifieds. We currently were served today. I was officially served today that matter. We have hired the services of Farrell, Rosenblatt, and Russell to represent Valley Unified in this matter. And I have been in correspondence with the lead on this, who is Kate Grossman. And we have 20 days, or the legal team has 20 days to provide a written response to the complaint. So they will be working on that and putting forth that shortly. Questions on that?
No questions, just a statement that it's quite interesting that at the meeting where Mr. Rosignol represented the citizens, he said that, and I quote, his clients are concerned but are not looking to revisit the site selection process. So evidently, he speaks with forked tongue.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So payment for the legal services, is that going to be divvied up according to the interlocal agreement? 50?
We have budgeted legal funds.
Oh, you did?
So when we built our budget last year, legal funds were budgeted for such things that happen. Yeah. I also have to see if we have legal fees in FEDES, our grant monies. FEDES 3, I'm not quite sure, because FEDES 2 has expired. I can look into that as well to see if we have legal fees under that. We had in the previous two. This one might fall under engineering, but I'm not sure. Any other questions? Please silence your cell phones. March. We will have our final Valley Unified Professional Development Day in March. I believe it's March 13. That's a Friday. We have been rotating venues. Our first Valley Unified Professional Development Day on January 2 was in Fort Kent Community High School. The second one on January 3 was at Wisdom Middle High School. So this third one will be here at Madawaska Middle High School. And we've decided that our teachers are very hardworking and deserve a little bit of relaxation in this professional development. So we're going to focus half the day on true professional development, but the other half of the day on wellness, where we're going to be doing some team building activities, wellness activities, probably utilizing the Four Seasons Lodge up here for winter things, the building here for indoor things. We're trying to put together a comprehensive plan for the whole day so that everyone's needs are met. So we thought that was a wonderful way to wrap up our last Valley Unified Professional Development Day when we have all the staff together. So if you see teachers playing on March 13th, you know why. They're all on snowshoes. Yes, we know, they're all on snowshoes. Valley Unified Administrator reports. I don't know if Sharon or Peter had anything to report out on today. No? Thank you. That's it for Valley Unified.
Items of business.
Under items of business, we have policy review. In your packet, you should have policy BCA. Do your packets say what mine is? All B. Do you have policies that all have the same code, or do you have
Yeah.
different policies?
No?
Because I have all BBBs.
No?
Just you? Okay, just me. Phew. BCA is board member code of ethics. We went through this during our last meeting as a first read. Essentially, it just goes through the ethics of being a board member. I will view this service on regional board as an opportunity to serve the Valley Unified community, state, and nation, because I believe public education is the best means to promote welfare in our people, to preserve the democratic way of life. I will at all times think of children first and base my decisions on how they will affect children, their education, and their training. I will make no disparaging remarks in or out of board meetings about other members of the board or their opinions or the executive director. I should have added that. I will remember at all times that as an individual, I have no legal authority outside the meetings of the board, and that I will conduct my relationship with the school staff, local citizenry, and media of communications on the basis of this fact. I will recognize that my responsibility is not to operate the schools, but to see that they are well operated. I will seek to provide education for children in the Valley Unified community, commiserate with their needs and abilities. I will listen to all citizens, but will refer all complaints to the proper authorities and discuss such complaints only at regular meeting after failure of administrative solution. I will support a decision made by the majority of the board graciously. I will not criticize employees publicly, but I will make such criticism to this. I will make such criticism to the superintendent for investigation and action if necessary. I will make decisions openly after all facts bearing on a question have been presented and discussed. I will refuse to make promises on how we will vote on a matter that should properly come before the board as a whole. I will not discuss the confidential business of the board in my home, on the street, or in my office, or on social media. I will place the place for such discussion shall be the board meeting. I will confine my board action to policymaking, planning, and the appraisal, leaving the administration of the schools to the superintendent. I will welcome and encourage cooperation and participation by teachers, administrators, and other personnel in developing policies that affect their welfare and that of their children they serve. I will endeavor at all times and see the regional services have adequate financial support within the capabilities of the community and state in order that every child may receive the best possible education. I will resist every temptation outside pressure to use my position as a school board member to benefit myself or an individual or agency apart from the total interest of the Education Service Center. I will endeavor to attend every regular special board meeting, recognizing that my presence means representation of my town or city. If I find this is not possible for extended length of time, I will give consideration to resigning from my position. I will recognize at all times the regional board of which I am a member is an agent of the state. As such, I will abide by laws, the state, and the regulations formulated by the Maine Department of Education, the State Board of Education. I will entertain a motion to approve policy BCA.
Move to approve.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Passes.
The second policy is BCB, board member conflict of interest. This is,
May I recommend that perhaps we take a minute?
sure. I'm not going to read this, so if you would quickly go through it and just review it on your own, that would be much better. Thank you.
You're welcome. You wanna do it?
Yeah.
You're okay with it?
I'll add it in.
I don't care. Just wanna make sure.
Toby made a good point that every time there's a mention of superintendent, I will go add executive director, superintendent, just for the purposes of this board. They're one and the same, but let's keep it legit. Just for a point of clarification for employment, under employment on page 2, a member of the board's spouse or a member may not be an employee of the Education Service Center or in a public school within the jurisdiction of the board. You have no public schools in your jurisdiction, so this does not qualify people who work for SAD 33 schools, Madawaska schools, or SAD 27 schools. You don't have a school currently in your jurisdiction. You may in the future, but not right now. If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion for BCB.
I move to approve it.
First by Josh, second by Rose.
Any discussion?
On the board members as volunteers, do we want to add any language that would give you the ability to make an exception there? Now, I'm thinking more on the sports end of things with the difficulty we have in getting coaches and
It's actually
assistants.
state law. This is state law, which is very discouraging, because you're right. I mean, we have some board members that want to be volunteers. Now, I will honestly tell you that I will not discourage a board member from volunteering their time as long as they're not on the books as a district volunteer. I see no harm in that. And the purpose of that is just so that a board member does not have influence on their children having playing time or any advantages on certain areas. I think that's the justification. But it's actually state law.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all those, oh,
No question.
all those in favor? Any opposed? Carries.
And the third one I have for you is policy DJH, purchasing and contracting. This was actually a policy that's referenced in the previous policy, so I felt that perhaps it should go as well. So if you quickly review that one. And I'll take a motion whenever someone is ready.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second? Tom? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. New business?
Under new business, in your packet, you have two documents. One is page 1 and 2 of your interlocal agreement, and it has a yellow highlight at the bottom of page 1 and at the top of page 3. This is in reference to our previous language that allowed for an administrator representative to the Valley Unified Board. It's why Lisa is here, it's why John is here, it's why Lise is on this board. We had discussions last meeting about whether or not that was appropriate, since I am now the superintendent for all units. So therefore, I am the direct supervisor of these administrators, and the board did motion at that time that we look at new language. The language change is very simple. It strikes all of the reference to an administrator being part of the board, and it simply states now, the Regional Service Center shall be governed by a board of directors. The board of directors, composed of 3 persons selected from and appointed by each member's governing board. Directors shall serve a 3-year term and may be reappointed on a 3-year basis thereafter. So this means your respective boards would be appointing a 3rd board member to replace Mr. Coletta, Ms. Bernier, and Ms. Pelletier. If that is appropriate to what we wanted, I have a motion that needs to be read to accept this. So whoever wants to read it.
Governing body, Board of Directors. The Regional Service Center shall be governed by a Board of Directors, parentheses, the Board of Directors, quote, composed of persons selected from and appointed by each member's governing board. Directors shall serve 3-year terms and be reappointed on a 3-year basis thereafter.
Was that the motion?
Yes.
Oh,
Did I read the wrong
just
one?
read the top here.
Oh,
Yep, that's okay.
excuse me.
That's all right.
I move that the amendment to the interlocal agreement for Valley Unified Regional Service Center, the ILA entitled Amendment to Interlocal Agreement for Valley Unified Regional Service Center to change composition of the Board of Directors, be adopted in form presented to this meeting, and that the secretary shall file an attested copy of said amendment with the minutes of this meeting and notify the Commissioner of Education of such amendment. Amendment to interlocal agreement for Valley Unified Regional Service Center to change composition of the Board of Directors. Pursuant to Section 22 of the interlocal agreement for the Valley Unified Regional Service Center, the ILA, parentheses, the Board of Directors, by a vote of 7/9 of its full membership, hereby amends Section 8A of the ILA by adding the words shown in the underlying form and by deleting the words shown in the strike-through form. And I have already read that.
Thank you.
Second.
Any discussion?
Whereas we are eliminating administrative board reps, but the language says that we still need a 7/9 vote, is it appropriate for Lisa and John to vote on this motion? Do you see any problem with that?
If it's unanimous, doesn't make any difference.
It doesn't, but I want to make sure it's appropriate. And I'm going to ask if this vote goes through, that Ms. Bernier and Mr. Coletta do not vote on any other new business.
Is that okay with everybody?
Okay with me.
Do we have any
Yes.
further discussion on that issue? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous.
I'm going to have you all sign. There's a line for each of you, so we'll start. Mr. Coletta, and you can all. Should I have Mr. Coletta sign now that he's no longer a board member?
It's really weird, isn't it?
Probably not. I think we're not going to have the administrative, but we need the 7/9.
But we can, if we don't have a full group of 7/9, we do 2/3 as long as there's one member from each member community.
So yes or no?
Have them all sign, and if it's wrong, it'll still be right.
Okay.
We'll still have our 2/3, so just have them sign.
I wish I had you for a high school teacher.
While that's being signed, we did have a policy that was tabled last meeting specific to the board governance. So we'll take a look at it and see if you're willing to adopt that as well.
Thank you.
That's policy BB that we did table last time. And the issue with policy BB is because we had the old language. So if you look at the bottom, Part A, bottom of page 1, Part A, the regional service center shall be governed. It had the old language, and we knew we were going to be revising the old language. So now it has the new language. The regional service center shall be governed by a board of directors composed of 3 persons selected and appointed by each member's governing board. Director shall serve a 3-year term and may be reappointed on a 3-year basis thereafter. That was the reason we tabled it. So I'll entertain a motion to accept policy BB.
So moved.
Gary, Rose. Any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous?
The next item on the agenda is actually the first phase of our budget hearing, where we start discussing our staff for Valley Unified, and so that we can start to think about how to prepare that budget. I would like to have that conversation with you now. Right now, we have 5 staff members that work for Valley Unified or are contracted to Valley Unified by each member's board. We have an executive director superintendent, and that recommendation is left up to you, whether that stays or not. We have an assistant superintendent. I'm recommending that Giselle remain in that position for my sanity. Director of Finance, Lucy is recommended, also for my sanity and for Giselle's sanity. And then Coordinator of Innovation and Community Outreach, Peter, for all of our sanity. And then our Food Service Director, Melanie Lagasse, is also recommended. There are other staff members who are shared, but they don't fall under Valley Unified. So Sharon, for example, is one of those individuals whose position was created before the Regional Service Center. It was under a different cost share agreement. These positions follow the cost share agreement that we have in our interlocal agreement. Someone like Sharon is a different agreement, where it's actually a third shared cost, an equal share between the 3 districts, because her work is equal in the 3 districts. It was determined that way. We also have some shared staffing that also follows some similar shared servicing. For example, our half-time health teacher at the tech center is shared between the 3 districts equally. So is our career teacher at the tech center as well. So these are the only 5 positions that fall under Valley Unified. Everything is based on the interlocal agreement cost share, with the exception of my position. That is paid 55% by the state first, and then the remaining balance, the remaining 45%, is shared between the 3 districts at that point in time. So, does anyone have any questions regarding those positions, whether or not we should be considering additional positions, whether or not we should be looking closely at these current positions, anything that you want to discuss so that we can start building that budget appropriately? Because the budget is essentially just that. It's the people, and then we have some contingencies for legal, we have some travel and some professional development. That's essentially what this budget is made up of.
I'd recommend we continue with the same staff, including you as the executive director.
Thank you, sir.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Okay. Now, do we need to go to?
I just need to tell them.
Okay. Need a motion to go to executive session? Well, before we go into executive session, anything else we need to discuss before we go into executive session and send everybody home?
So folks, I appreciate you all coming. I know you're expecting, lights and fireworks, but this is just a business meeting, so we're going to end the meeting and go into executive session unless somebody has questions.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
When will the public be able to participate in the decision about the curriculum? And will they? And also, can I get a complete and an entire copy of the grant?
Let me write this down. So the grant you're talking about is the regional high school grant?
Yes.
Okay. Can I get your contact information?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why don't we take a,
What about the first question about the curriculum?
Your first question is, so the next phase of this, if we pass the straw poll for site selection, is going to be concept design, which involves the creation of what that programming is going to look like. There will be some participation from public in that as well. We don't know what that looks like yet because we're not there yet. Okay, but if I get your contact, I'll send you an email, okay?
Yes.
Okay, I'll send you a copy of that.
takes a couple minutes for the room to clear out. Why don't we take a brief break?
Until they have a motion to enter, do we wait until they clear up?
Just wait till they clear out, I'll make the motion. So let's give it 5 minutes and everyone should be gone by then. That happens too. We went through the same thing last night. It's better if we get it all done at once.
Did you tell them, did he tell you?
Huh? Not yet.
It's okay, maybe I'm not under Wednesday. So then, you know, it's It's gonna keep you warm.
I know.
Put it together. It was so fun.
Yeah, I think either way. All we're gonna talk about is the split, that's nice. I don't fully understand why we're
You can
going.
leave.